This tier list has such a brutal story behind it. My first Llamas tier list from like 2022 was recorded with V-Bucks in mind, because back then you could spend V-Bucks to open llamas. You had X-ray llamas, I believe, but you could still spend V-Bucks. And shortly thereafter, Archer teased Tim Sweeney on Twitter for having loot boxes and save the world. And then like a couple updates later, they now cost X-ray tickets instead of V-Bucks. So I was ranking these llamas based on how valuable they were when you're spending currency that you could spend real life money on. Now, we're pretty much just going to be talking about what they give you. So let's just get straight into it. S tier is going to be the best of the best. These llamas give you the best items in the entire game. I can skip ahead right now and just tell you, birthday llamas could not be a more perfect example of that. Birthday llamas just give you pretty much everything in the event section. So if you go to the collection book, anything in the event people and schematics is from birthday llamas. And also main stuff like the expansion. I've heard of people getting nailers in their birthday llamas. Can I get an F in the comments for that guy? Oh man. But it's a perfect example. D tier would be pretty subpar items that you wouldn't even want. I'll even skip ahead to the Vindertech llamas. These have not been available in a very, very long time, but the Vindertech set is pretty mediocre. In fact, I can just illustrate that with the section down here. These weapons are pretty fine. Some of them are okay, but you know, like the shotgun, but none of them are exceptional. I think D tier is like a perfect spot for that. So that kind of just lays the groundwork for what I'm talking about here. Now, there are ones like this that are labeled Blockbuster Llama. These are military llamas. Some of the best items in the entire game come out of this set. I mean, almost everything in here is a banger. It's easier to just say what's not that good, which would be the Tiger Lynx, and that's pretty much it. Even the quad launcher down here, pretty good. Obliterator's awesome. The Wraith is pretty good. The Bobcat, Spectre are both amazing SMGs. Crossbow, Haxa. I'm not going to do this for every single set. That's just the point I'm making. The military weapons are amazing, and some of the heroes are actually really, really good. Art Deco is a little less exciting. I'd say A tier is perfect, because I don't know what I ranked this last time. It might have been S tier, but it's been 2 years since then, I think. So new opinions, but Art Deco weapons are all pretty good. The heroes are also pretty good. They're nothing absolutely fantastic, but the Floor Flusher versus an elemental target is amazing, but they all have that 6 perk that boosts elemental damage by 44%. And if you don't have an elemental target, then they're just normal weapons with no affliction or extra bonuses. So they're just pretty good. A tier is perfect. Now the Fortnite llamas are a bit more tricky because there's a lot going on in here. In fact, showing you guys this also reminds me of what's in here. A lot of this stuff are shop items. So we're looking at like the 6 feet under, and I think most of what's in there are the black metal weapons, which some are fantastic, like the Blackout, but the Dursong shop only. Same with the Metal Marauders. So you get some pretty okay axes, and otherwise that's it. I mean, you get some really decent heroes like Ted can come from Holiday. I'm getting distracted because Holiday is what's on my mind. That's the current event. But as far as the military, the Fortnite stuff, it would be A tier. It would be A tier, but I just remembered something while recording. Legendary survivors. So if you go to the costume party attendees, you can get these legendary husk themed survivors that can also give you the jackal launcher. That is awesome. If you want the jackal launcher, that's great in its own right, but getting legendary survivors from these is fantastic. And Fortnite Mirrors lines up with dungeons where you can farm up a ton of these, meaning it makes them an excellent source of schematic XP, training manuals, extra survivors to max out your power level. That is just a really, really, really good combo. So I'm putting these in S tier partly because dungeons is also awesome, but hey man, that's just the event that we're working with. S tier llama, I think, in my opinion. The next one we got is less exciting. Lunar llamas are C tier, you know, not just because the color matches, but because lunar weapons are pretty collectively okay. That's the Chinese New Year weapons, if I can even find them. But yeah, the dragon set, they're fine weapons. I'm not going to elaborate too much on every single set, but they're okay. You should open them when the season's around, but I wouldn't hold your breath for them. Pirate llamas. Pirate llamas are a little trickier because you get some really amazing items with them. For once, I'm not going to talk about a weapon, but you guys know where I'm going with this. Regular viewers are already rolling their eyes. Crossbows Barrett. He's one of the best heroes in the entire game. He's the first hero I fluxed on my noob account. Coconuts are just fantastic. Yes, nowadays they are capped to 8, but that doesn't matter. It's a skill issue if you think 8's not enough. They are very strong for healing and giving you bonus damage. The pirate heroes are very fun just to boost the team perk from Blakebeard the Blackhearted. He is shop only, but the other heroes that support him are all in the llamas. It's just very, very awesome. And if you scroll down to the pirate set, if I can find it, you get some pretty decent weapons in here. The bundle bus is shop, so is the bowler, but I'm looking at like the spyglass, old Betsy are very good for low level players. Fishing hook is really strong. The Corsair and Jack's Revenge are awesome. They don't look like they come from the llamas, but they absolutely absolutely do. Yeah, it says Yar questline, but they do definitely come from the llamas. So it's just a really, really fun and interesting set, and Blakebeard's stash is really, really good for ventures. However, that is a mythic hero not available in the llamas. So I'll still put it in S tier because most llamas are pretty good, but I'll say low S tier. This is opinions. I'm not going to defend this too heavily, but it's somewhere in the S tier range. Specifically, I'm not really sure. The next is Rad Llamas, for the same reason as Pirates, but amplified. I'm going to put it above Military Llamas. That surprises even me. And for once, I'm doing this because of the heroes. Again, Dennis Jr. is specifically the hero that gives you Totally Rockin' Out, all right? He is not available in these llamas, but his support perks are. And these support perks are fantastic. Okay, not Power Pop. She's pretty hard to take advantage of. Heavy attacks, that's tricky and sometimes bugged a lot lately. But Breakbeat Wildcat, just activating Rock and Riff increases your damage and melee attack speed. It's a decaying 8-second cooldown. It's not always perfectly active, but I put her in non-Totally Rockin' Out builds all the time. Same with Varsity Hero. He's just good to have. Those footballs will increase your damage whether you're using the team perk or not. And if you are using the team perk, you are enjoying a massive crit rating boost, and it's healing you at the same time. Really, really good team perk. Again, team perk's not featured in the llamas, but just for these three heroes, Main Sage Quinn, just to fill it out, by the way, she gives you wafers, you eat them, and it activates it on command. That's just awesome. These three heroes work whether you're using the team perk or not, and the rad weapons are pretty good. They're not as exciting. We're looking at boombox weapons. Wolfer's a pretty good shotgun, kind of like a worse Pulsar. Beat Blaster's really good. The Staccato Shadow is not from the llamas, so I should ignore that. Ear Splitter's a really strong melee. I mean, you got some good picks in here. Nothing absolutely fantastic, but just because of Totally Rockin' Out, or at least Rock and Riff activations, I'll put that in S tier. The next one we have two of, that was Archer's Glitch. Sorry, Archer, still teasing you about that 2 years later, but Sci-Fi Weapons. Sci-Fi Weapons have taken a hit. You see, the Plasmatic Discharger exists nowadays, which means the big boy Deatomizer is no longer so exciting. Previously, well, still actually, Sci-Fi Llamas are the only way to get the Deatomizer without fluxing it, but since the Discharger just does its job, but better and cheaper by 5 energy cells, maybe slower with a 3-second cooldown, is still brutal. Now, all of these weapons do drop from the Sci-Fi Llamas. The Pulsar is awesome, just mentioned it. Blastotron is excellent. The Gamatron's pretty okay. The SMG is pretty strong. All of the melees are pretty good. Plasmatron 9000 is functionally an SMG. And then the Sci-Fi heroes are awesome as well. Rio, she gives you a 20% damage bonus to energy weapons with your shields up. It's not a huge buff, but it's there. Eddie, I've been slowly getting turned on to. AS407 is a melee expert in our community who has used him in a lot of builds, and I'll admit, a pretty impressive showing. Cyberclops, I believe, is overrated in the community's mindset, but I'll still respect him as a pretty good drop from these llamas. So the Sci-Fi set is a lot of A tier weapons, a lot of A to S tier weapons. I still think they're S tier, but barely hanging on by a thread, because energy only means you are losing a lot of damage versus elemental targets. There are some really fantastic weapons in the game nowadays that do Sci-Fi weapon damage, but better. And I didn't even mention Azealia Clark, but that's probably for a reason. Her team perk is next to useless, and her main perk is next to useless. We're really looking at her, her commander perk, but we're really looking at her support perk. Ability energy damage bonus is nice, but yeah, low S tier. That's hanging on to laurels. It might truly be A tier, but I'll keep it in low S. The next set is Spy Weapons. Spy Weapons is tricky because that is a very interesting weapon set. Some of them are very strong, some of them are very not. Let's talk about it. So the one that I'm thinking about most is the Pepper Sprayer. This is a perfect SMG. I've talked about this on the channel a lot. It has perfect perks, really good accuracy, a 34 mag size when it normally should have 30 on normal weapons. It has a 1.5 second reload without a reload perk. Oh my god, most weapons have a 2 or more reload time and use a reload perk to get down to like 1.3. A very standard fire rate in the game is 10.8, so this is slightly under it at 9.9, and its damage is pretty low. But if you're using Totally Rockin' Out, aforementioned, and you supercharge yours to 144, which I actually did on a copy of my Pepper Sprayer, it is really good. It is like a perfect weapon. So that's like the big get, in my opinion. The Trinity, also a pretty good SMG. I don't think it's quite as good. I have used both very recently. I don't know. But yeah, the turncoat's a pretty decent pistol. The Browbeater, fun fact, this is the hardest hitting non-launcher non-third rail weapon in the entire game. Yeah, the third rail dethroned the double boiler, but I realized I was misunderstanding something. So the browbeater is actually the hardest hitting shotgun, kind of. It does that because it shoots 10 pellets that all do a combined amount to be more than the double boiler. Double boiler will come up later, but I'll give you a quick review here if we go to the steampunk. Yeah, I was looking for Wild West in my brain because they've changed names over the years. It was like Wild West and Pirate, and now it's steampunk, but the double boiler. It shoots a slug, 2-shot weapon, very, very strong. It'll come up later for sure. But the browbeater, it does the job that does in 10 pellets instead of 1. So they might not all connect, but if they do, it hits like a truck. I used double browbeater in Frostnite one time, and it was doing pretty well versus 500 power level smashers. So there are just a couple of very, very standout weapons in this set, with the rest of the items being pretty good. And the spy heroes are also okay. Bomb Squad Kyle is a noob's favorite. In fact, I've even used Bomb Squad Kyle to barely survive Takers and Frostnite. It's like a breakpoint thing. If I had him in support, I lived, and if I didn't, I died. He was very useful in a Frostnite run I did last year. Bladestorm's pretty good. Undercover Buzz, I'm not going to get too detailed because I don't want this video to be half an hour long, but suffice it to say, I think Spy Llamas earn a low S tier. There's a lot going on there. Maybe not quite as universal as Pirate because Blakebeard's stash is so good, but the team perk's not in the Llamas. I'll put it in mid S tier. Mid S tier. Spy set is really good. Really, really good. Now, the one that was distracting me earlier are the Holiday Llamas. Currently available as I'm recording this. This might not be true for you, but that shouldn't matter. The Holiday Llamas are pretty complicated because they have a lot going on here. And most of this is not available from the Llamas, but some of it is. So the Contender's okay. The Supersonic Slasher's pretty good. The one that I'm thinking about most is not the Ralphie's Revenge, but the Pop Shot. Fun fact, if you have a loadout, and weirdly enough, I don't want to explain it now because shotguns are complicated, but I promise you this is not a troll. Crit rating, reload, and mag size. Maybe I should explain it. And crit damage. With the proper loadout, this is the highest DPS shotgun in the game. Just, you know, the best. Highest damage per second. Not hardest hitting like the browbeater and the double boiler, but it's highest DPS. I should explain that because it matters. So the way that shotguns reload is one shell at a time. Some of them. The Tiger Jaw and the Room Sweeper reload with a magazine, but if you have the Pop Shot, Huskbuster, Groundbounder, those are the three best, they reload with shells. And your reload time is dependent on how long it reloads all of the shells. Meaning if you go from a 7 mag size on like the Ground Pounder to a 12 mag size with a mag size perk, your reload time will still be 5 seconds on that weapon. Which means you are now reloading 75% more shells at the same rate. And all that reload does is it reduces the amount of time by 75% that you need to reload those 7 shells. I will save you the math because I've done it several times. It's the same. It's like 0.43 seconds per shell, and it's like 0.42 if it's reload. So it's 1/100 of a second faster to have a reload perk, but with mag size, you have like 5 more shells up front. That is hugely beneficial. However, that is only working once because mag size will provide a 75% shell count bonus to your base, meaning you'll go from 7 to 12, but you won't get 75% of 12 added on top. You'll get 75% of 7 added on top. So in the Ground Pounder example, I know this weapon much better than the Pop Shot, so that's why I'm using that. You'll go from 7 to 12, and then from 12 to 17 with that second mag size, which is no longer a 75% damage or mag size bonus. It's more like 40. That's just off the top of my head. I don't know if that's exactly right, but a reload perk will still reload those 12 shells 75% quicker. So for that very complicated reason, I am so sorry for the heads of the people who are not expecting an in-depth breakdown on shotguns. You do want reload and mag size on the Pop Shot. It works mathematically. You'll reload 7.5 shells per second. You will reload faster than you can fire. Crit rating and crit damage. It's a nutty weapon. Very, very, very strong shotgun. You will go through a lot of ammo. Be prepared for that. But there's also like a weird amount of weapons in the set. A lot of these are shop only, so it's strange to explain. And then you've also got holiday heroes that come out of here. So you've got Ted is a weird one. He is earned by playing Frostnite and voucher only, yet also drops from the Llamas, and he gives Happy Holidays, one of the best team perks in the entire game, reducing those ability cooldowns, and a pretty wicked bonus to your minigun. It gives it crit rating and crit damage. That's a very, very strong perk on such a strong ability. And a lot of this stuff is event stuff. So you get Demolisher Jonesy. He gives you like extra frags. Pretty nice to have. Nothing too crazy. Warden Kyle. I got him on the noob account, and I am so happy. He got buffed by a lot. He makes you heal a ton. He sextupled how much he healed from before. I got to say that on camera. And that is really, really good in support. He also gives you energy as a base support hero, he is extremely nice to have. Alchemist heals you. Fragment Flurry is nice. There are some good heroes in there, but yeah, the holiday set has some very, very shining picks and a lot of pretty mediocre ones. I think it's still S tier. There's a lot going on in there. Frost Knight is awesome. I don't know. I'll just put it somewhere in here. It could be anywhere. Flip a coin. But holiday llamas are barely S tier. They're very, very good. Very good. Let's continue on. So this is Founders Llamas. You would think they'd be easy S tier, but all of the Founders weapons you could get were purple. And they have 6 perks now, and they're not great. The only one that you really care about is the Founder's Night Cleave, and you can't even I don't even know if you can get that anymore, and it's completely RNG. So this is one bugged weapon that is technically, well, sort of the best Paleoluna weapon, but the affliction bonus from like a normal stab's worth is, do I even have one, is very, very good to have. So even then, it's not like the only one you would want to use. So yeah, I don't know. Founders, I think in my previous video, I put it in C tier, and that's kind of where it is. You get some unique items that are not that good. I don't know. And you had to pay these forever ago. So these llamas have never been available in my time. I have never even seen a scavenger llama. But if I can assume, I don't know, this is why they pay me the big bucks. If I can assume the scavenger llamas give you these scavenger weapons, then I would put these pretty high. Scavenger weapons are just cheaper alternatives. The Huskbuster is just the Stampede, but cheaper. That's the only difference. Scavenger Launcher, the trash cannon, is just a bazooka, but cheaper to craft and more cost efficient. You'll just save Brightcore by using this. It's just a direct upgrade. And the only exception is the Riptide. Yeah, I don't know why. It does 3% less than the Thrasher, but it's still more cost effective. So people don't use it because the Thrasher is just better. But yeah, scavenger items, if these ever come back, I'd say high A tier. You know what? I might even, it depends on how they release. Okay, so here's the trick. The items would be A or S tier, but you get those items in regular missions all the time. It's why these llamas are functionally extinct. So if they came back and costed anything, it'd be D tier. Don't buy that. You can get the Huskbuster in regular missions every week. But I don't know. I'll put it in B tier because I don't know what to do with a llama that's not in the game. So, all right, if it ever comes back, we could talk about it then. I just got scared by my own shadow. Storm Zone, I don't know. If these are neon, then maybe S tier, but I don't know. I'll put it in D tier because I don't think you should be buying neon items, with the one exception, of course, being the Xenon Bow, but that's also available in upgrade llamas. So yeah, I don't really know what to talk about there. The neon weapons are some of the worst in the entire game. Although the Argon Axe, by the way, highest base crit chance melee, just by the way, 30%, kind of a lot. All right, let's talk about Wild West. Wild West llamas actually come to the game pretty regularly in the shop for extra tickets, so this is actually a reasonable thing to talk about, something that you can actually pick up. We are looking for Wild West drops Steampunk. Yeah, we don't have Wild West items, we have Steampunk. We talked about this. I mentioned the Double Boiler to come back. It's a hard-hitting weapon, and that Steam Claw does a lot. Steam Thrash is one of the best melees in the entire game. Last Word is a very strong, very effective pistol. The Baron is the best vehicle in the entire game. This can have triple movement speed. That's a big, big deal. Cannonade is a fully auto launcher that is really, really good. I use it for clearing structures as well. I've supercharged mine. It's awesome. Bon Voyage is pretty strong, and there are we're coming out of my mouth at the same time. There are even actually some decent heroes. So First Shot Rio gives you a guaranteed crit chance on ARs and SMGs, limited to 2 shots and 6 respectively, but I have paired her with some Nocturnal builds to do like 30 million damage at once. She can be used to great effectiveness if you know what you're doing. Infiltrator can, Smoke Bomb Radius, nice to have. Wild Fragment gives you Affliction on your Shock Tower. Decent. Quick Dark Calamity actually has the best pistol damage bonus in the game, but it's locked to 6 shots. So if you're using the 6 shooter, it's perfect. And she has a team perk that I've never taken advantage of. So there are some really hot picks in here, and they come around regularly. I'll put them in A tier, right next to the Art Deco. Maybe S tier, I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. You should probably look at these and see if you get anything good in your preview. Now, Winter 2018 is tricky because obviously that's 2018. They haven't come back, but you do in those llamas, or you did at one point, get the medieval set, and these are actually pretty good. Hemlock is a very strong weapon that doesn't really keep up nowadays because it doesn't have affliction. Jabberwocky is one of the best weapons in the entire game. It shoots a cannonball that explodes into 3 more cannonballs. You can do 10 million damage with not that much setup. I made a video on that. It's nuts. The Guardian's Will is extremely strong. It's a lot of good picks in here. Sir Lancelot, one of my new favorite melees. I got recently shown that it's very good. That's another video on the channel. So there's a lot going on in here, but they're also completely unavailable. So, you know, I'd say S tier for realsies. They're very, very good. There are some awesome items in there, but they're completely inaccessible, so it almost doesn't matter. Golden llamas. Okay, so these are just, I'm gonna pretend these are smorgasbord. If you have a smorgasbord or a legendary troll truck or a legendary troll stash, you are guaranteed legendary plus, meaning sometimes you can get mythics in there. That's S tier if I've ever heard it. You might see nothing good in there, so don't buy those. They can tend to be expensive. If it's a superhero llama, for example, if it is a superhero people llama, for example, it'll be 1,000 extra tickets, and you might get a mythic lead hero or mythic lead survivor or a mythic hero, but unless you see that, you shouldn't buy it. So it's 1,000 extra tickets or 1,500 if it's a smorgasbord, where you will get 6 choice llamas that can be legendary or higher. Very, very good stuff comes out of here. It's all base game, but base game items are awesome. So, and mythic leads don't really spawn in missions that often. We do see them in missions, but they can be high levels. It might not be the one you need, whatever. Golden llamas are always good. You should check them out. Upgrade llamas. I don't want to put these in S tier. I don't. Okay. So the only really, really special items that can come out of upgrade llamas are Xenon Bow and Vacuum Tube Bow. And they introduced an item into the game that not a lot of people talk about. They complain about Save the World, but they forget that we just sort of have Upgrade Llama tokens now. You can just buy these for free if you've ran those missions. So they kind of don't cost anything. You still had to run a mission to get the tokens in most cases, so they're not completely free. Your time matters. But if you are using that time grinding any other thing and tokens are just extra, like right before recording these, I took a bathroom break and I ran an Upgrade Llama mission AFK on stream. And I just placed a base and my teammates hung out and danced. Like, they can be free if you're doing something else. So because they can functionally be free and they can give you mythics and you don't need to buy it unless they are free, I think S tier matters. I think you might argue with me that these aren't S tier because it's all base game, you don't even need these. But when you load up your game and you have your very first Xenon Bow in there and you are using an Upgrade Llama token to get it, you'll understand what I mean. So it's lame, but I think they're S tier. And I updated this list to have the mini llamas, and apparently they're not in here now. So maybe I refreshed and they're gone. I don't know where they went. They were here initially. Silver, by the way, a D tier. Everybody's mad about getting silver because it should have been gold. But I guess I don't have my, all right. For those who skip to the end and watch this muted, you will not know this, but for those who actually listen to me, the mini llamas should be an S tier. They just give you gold. Mini llamas just kind of happen. I don't recommend going out of your way for it, but anybody who grinds endurances or storm shield defenses or plays like ventures missions where you might just get mini llamas, they kind of just happen. And when you open them, you just get gold. Who doesn't want like easy gold that's functionally free? And you get a good amount. Like, that was 5 mini llamas. How much gold did I just get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. So 350 gold just from 5 random llamas I had. If that's not S tier, I don't know what is. So that's it. Upgrade Llamas tier list. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below what you guys thought. I'm glad to finally update this one because my old one was so outdated. I wanted to delete it without a follow-up. So I'm glad I did this. Thank you guys for watching. Like the video, subscribe. Members get my videos early. So sometimes I record a bunch of tier lists at once, or other edited videos are scheduled. And for normal viewers, it's just private and it goes out when it goes out on schedule. If you're a member, you get to see those early. So yeah, I never paywall my content permanently, or at least I have no plans to. So you're just paying for early access and supporting the channel. So thank you guys. All right, I'm out of here. Goodbye.